going on, everyone? My name is Jamon McKinney, or you can just call me Juice, because that is my nickname. Today, we are officially previewing and breaking down the Los Angeles Rams football team, and we're going to outlook how their season is going to pan out heading into the 2020 season. I've already done a record prediction and preview for the Arizona Cardinals. I have a playlist that I have made for my YouTube channel, so be sure to check that out. You know, the link will be in the description for those of you that are watching on YouTube. Without further ado, let's talk about the Rams right here. So obviously the Rams last season, coming off a season in which they made it to the Super Bowl and lost to the Patriots. They only scored 3 points in that Super Bowl, and they went 9-7, and they missed the playoffs. And I actually predicted that the Rams were going to miss the playoffs last season, and the year before that, I picked them to win the Super Bowl. Now, obviously, they did not win the Super Bowl, but I came pretty darn close. So the last couple years, I've actually been pretty spot on with the Rams. If I am correct, I think that I had them around 9-7 last year. I might have had them around 9-7 or 10-6, but I did not have them in the playoffs last year. You know, the Rams, they started off 3-0 last year, and after that, it was kind of a roller coaster, you know, and I expected the Rams to naturally regress from last year because we've seen teams that, you know, have went to the Super Bowl and the very next year they kind of regress. They aren't necessarily the same exact team. And also, I was high on the 49ers. I had the 49ers winning the division last year, and they actually proved me right. But let's talk about how good this Rams team actually is right now. I'm not very high on the Rams this year. And one of the reasons why I'm not so high on the Rams this year is because I'm not completely sold on Jared Goff. I'm just not. For a while, I was higher on Jared Goff than most people. But after watching Jared Goff this past year, he did not give me a whole lot of confidence. You know, I think Jared Goff at his best is one of the better quarterbacks in all of football. When Jared Goff is on, that guy drops some dimes, man. But when Jared Goff is at his worst, it is not pretty at all. And we saw this past year, Jared Goff at his worst more so than him at his best. Last year, Jared Goff, over 4,600 yards. He had 22 touchdown passes, 16 interceptions, a 63% completion percentage, and a pass rating of around 86. And Jared Goff recently just got a big-time contract extension worth $33.5 million per year. That performance right there is not cutting it for a guy that just got paid. Jared Goff was massively overpaid, and honestly, if I were the Rams, I would have waited to give Jared Goff his long-term deal. Now, I think that the Rams are honestly at a quarterback disadvantage for most of their divisional games because I look at Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think that Jimmy Garoppolo is that much better or that much worse than Jared Goff, but Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson, they are head and shoulders above Jared Goff. I know that Kyler Murray only played for one season, but Kyler Murray, I think he has a chance to become an elite quarterback one day. He is just more talented than Jared Goff. So look, Jared Goff has to play better. If this team is going to go anywhere this year, he has to start playing at a very high level. You can't have these 22 touchdowns, 16 interception seasons. It's just not going to cut it. So he has to be better. Now, I do think that his weapons are sort of underrated. I like Cooper Kupp. Robert Woods is a good player. Van Jefferson, a guy that was drafted this past year out of Florida. I think he has some speed. I think that he's a good pass catcher. Josh Reynolds and Tyler Higbee at tight end are not bad. Josh Reynolds is not a tight end. Tyler Higbee is a tight end. But either way, Goff doesn't have terrible weapons, but he also doesn't have elite pass catchers. So the weapons are above average. Now the running backs. Obviously, Todd Gurley is no longer on this Rams team. Okay? So who's replacing Todd Gurley? Malcolm Brown? I don't know about that. Darrell Henderson? Not really great. You know, not someone that I am losing sleep over at night. Now, Cam Akers, I think he has a chance to be a special NFL running back. Cam Akers, I was a huge fan of him when he was at Florida State. He did not have the benefit of playing behind a very good offensive line, and that really affected his performance and his numbers in college, okay? So I think that Cam Akers has some star power. Is he going to be the next Todd Gurley? No, he's not, but I think that Cam Akers is a 3-down running back. He's a player to watch this year. Now, the offensive line for the Rams is honestly not impressing me at all. It's not impressing me at all. Andrew Whitworth is one of the better left tackles in all of football, definitely, but he's 38 years old. He's much older than most left tackles in the NFL. Is he going to start really declining with age? Probably, honestly, if I were to project. Austin Corbett, I know you guys picked him up from the Cleveland Browns not too long ago, but there's a reason why he's not in Cleveland anymore. He wasn't very good on their roster. So the left side of the offensive line has some potential, but outside of Corbett and Andrew Whitworth, I'm not sold on this offensive line. This offensive line is not that good in my opinion. Now, Jared Goff only got sacked 22 times last year, but if you actually watch the Rams games last year, some sacks were definitely on Jared Goff, but he was constantly pressured. He was constantly hit. And I would not say this offensive line is an elite unit. I just don't see it. So, Jared Goff, I don't think he's being protected at a very high rate this year if I look at his offensive line. Now, when I look at the defense, I think that this is where the Rams are going to really have to start dominating on defense. You have Jalen Ramsey, one of the 3 best cornerbacks in all of football. Aaron Donald might be the 2nd best player in all of football, behind Patrick Mahomes. Michael Brockers, Ashawn Robinson, Leonard Floyd, Taylor Rapp, who did make some mistakes as a rookie at safety, but I think he has a lot of potential. This defense has some pieces. So, best case scenario, this defense plays like a top 10 unit all season. Once Jalen Ramsey got traded to this team, we saw what this defense can become. A dominant unit from time to time. But there were some inconsistent stretches from this defense. Even when Jalen Ramsey got there, they gave up 45 points to Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens at home. They got shellacked by the Dallas Cowboys, who did not even make the playoffs last year. So we'll see how the defense performs, but I do like the players you have there. Now let's talk about Sean McVeigh. I think Sean McVeigh is a very bright, young head coach. I like Sean McVeigh. But Sean McVeigh has to make better adjustments. He has to be better because last year, he was not at his best. He just wasn't. The NFL sort of adjusted to Sean McVay's scheme. Now Sean McVay has to adjust to the NFL. And the thing that I think Sean McVay needs to work on the most is being better off script. And he needs to do a better job of adjusting his game plan to the opponents that come his way. The best coaches make adjustments based on the opponents that they play week to week, and they make adjustments on the fly. That is what Sean McVay needs to do a better job of. Now, part of his struggles as a coach last year was the fact that Jared Goff at times was just not that good. But at the same time, Sean McVay at times was not elevating Jared Goff either. And when I look at the coaches in this division, Pete Carroll is clearly better than Sean McVay. I think Kyle Shanahan is more creative and does more with less. And honestly, in a couple years, I think Cliff Kingsbury could surpass Sean McVay. And he has a much more dynamic quarterback to work with. So, as far as quarterback and coach in this division, I think the Rams are not at a very high advantage. And if they are, it's not by a large margin, okay? So, between quarterback and head coach, I'm not really feeling it as far as teams within this division, okay? Now, I do think the Rams are going to benefit from having their entire coaching staff back and Jared Goff being an experienced quarterback because you're in a year in a pandemic and most of their team returns this year. So, in a year with a shortened training camp, I believe the Rams are at an advantage. However, I don't think that's going to matter, okay? I have the Rams only winning 5 games this year. Now, they very well easily could prove me wrong, okay? But as far as Jared Goff, he's very inconsistent. I'm not sold. The offensive line is not great. The defense is good, but I don't think it's an elite unit. I look at Seattle. They're a better football team. I look at San Francisco. they're a better football team. And I believe in Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals this year. I have them going 9-7. I like what the Cardinals did in the offseason. They had a better draft, and they had a better free agency period than the Rams. And I think Kyler Murray is just much more talented than Jared Goff. Now, I'm going to dive into the schedule and kind of give you a sense as to why I only have the Rams winning 5 games. This team could easily be a 9-7, maybe 10-win team at best. Maybe even 8-8 at times. But I see only 5 wins. I see about 5 or 6 wins. And I'm going with 5, man. Week number 1 versus Dallas. That could be a win. But I think Dallas is a better football team. They showed it last year. I'd probably say that's a loss. And looking at your next 4 games, at Philly, at Buffalo, New York Giants, and at Redskins, you could lose 3 of those 4 games, definitely. And if I were to project, you probably lose all 3 of those road games. I think you can beat the Giants at home, but a lot of those teams that you are going to be facing on the road have ferocious defensive lines and very good defenses. I think the Redskins will get after your offensive line. I think the Buffalo Bills will do the same thing. And the same thing can be said also for the Philadelphia Eagles. Not to mention week 6, after you face Chase Young and that stacked Redskins defensive line, you gotta go to San Francisco to face Nick Bosa and that stacked 49ers defense. Then you gotta play Chicago. Then you have to play Miami. In Miami. And I think Miami has a chance to be a sneaky team this year based on the additions they made on defense. And if Tua Tagovailoa is as good as we think he is, or if Ryan Fitzpatrick is on his game, that's a game that you could lose. It's on the road. Now, your bye week is in a very, reasonable spot, okay? Now, I think that you probably will win a couple games within the division. You could potentially split with all 3 of the teams in the division. I think you're actually going to beat Seattle at some point this year just because the Rams have kind of had Seattle's number the last couple years. But I mean, at Tampa Bay, San Francisco at home in week 12, at Arizona week 13, New England Patriots week 14, they just got Cam Newton. You're probably definitely losing that game. I mean, the Jets at home in week 15, that's probably a win. Then week 16 and 17, you got at Seattle, and then the Cardinals at home. This is not an easy schedule. And I just think that the Rams are going to be in for a reality check this year. I think that the Rams are on their way to having the 4th best quarterback and head coach duo in their own division within the next year or so. I really like what the Cardinals have done. I like what the 49ers have done. I like where the Seahawks are at right now with Russell Wilson, who's never had a losing season. This schedule is not easy at all. I don't think the Rams are a vastly improved team from a year ago. And last year, you were only 9-7. So the division is better. And honestly, I don't think the Rams are a better football team. So I have the Rams only winning 5 games this year, but they could easily prove me wrong. But right now, I don't see it. I think this Rams team is a little bit overrated, and I only have the Rams winning 5 games this season. Let me know what you guys, let me know your record prediction for the Rams this year in the comment section if you're watching on YouTube. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juice Alert Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I currently am a freshman there right now. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juice Alert Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.